friends, and welcome to another Watch with Ray. I am getting into the second episode of The Last of Us. Almost like The Last with Us, but that's not it. The Last of Us, the HBO series that I'm slow in the uptake. Everyone has seen, but me at this point. So this one is called Infected, and it is directed by Neil Druckmann. I believe the one before was is he like the front runner on the director? Let's see. No, that was Craig Mazin, but he did write it. So Neil Druckmann. Wow, my screen just popped up there. I need some better lighting. I know, guys. Um, Neil Druckmann wrote and directed this one. Well, with Craig Mazin. Craig Mazin also wrote it. Okay, so I'm gonna eat a little bit of crow today, and I'm gonna say something here. I'm going to say this show pulled me back in because as of the end of the first episode, I was not having anything to do with this show. I was like, no, no more. I do not want. And it did. It pulled me back in. Um, Although the very beginning of this, I see what they're doing and it's frustrating, but at the same time it's needed because we don't know what the fuck is happening. But the very beginning, we're going back in time and we're seeing how the virus came or sorry, the fungus spread and how it came to be and how it started to spread and what they did, the solutions that they took or the steps that they took to try to stop the spread once it had taken hold. So we are, I believe it was Indonesia. Um, so we see that we're in Indonesia, and there's this older scientist, female scientist that they pick up. I was laughing to myself because I just couldn't stop sneezing when I'm watching this. I'm sneezing. My chest hurts because I it still hurts to sneeze and cough because COVID's the worst. Um, but so I was like, oh my God, I have it. I have whatever this is. Um, and she looks at, so they have like, she's going into this military facility and they're kind of like, here's what, here's all we know about this. And so she's like, okay, well, this is Ophiocordia seps, which we talked about in the last episode. Like, I'm acting like a fucking scientist, whatever. Um, and they she was kind of upset because they didn't prepare the slide, but it was literally taken from a human. So, um, but she's like, these spores can't survive in humans. And the guy, the military entourage or the attaché that's there with her is kind of like gives her his face like, test me, bitch. Really? I'm on the ground dealing with this. You're not. So they, she comes across this, like, she's doing more research. They're kind of like letting her see exactly what all they have. um she finds a bite on this one of the bodies that they have to display. um and it's got a gunshot wound in the head, but there is definitely a bite on the left ankle. And she's like, is the bite human? And the attaché's like, yep. And then she does, oh God, she takes her forceps. She goes, opens the dude's mouth, the corpse's mouth, and she pulls out that spore thing, which is so cool. And it comes back later. I I hate slash love this thing. I love it for the practical of it, and I mean, honestly, that fucking spore is the creepiest fucking thing in this show. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty fucking gross. Um, they were talking about this girl that she bit a whole, like, she's talking about the person who bit him with the gunshot wound. It was a person that like bit a whole bunch of people, but they can't figure out like who the patient zero is, who bit her to become like the spread, like who started the spread. um like with coronavirus, it's always like where's patient zero? Where did we get this virus from that like it just spread, you know, internationally? So she's kind of like seen everything, and the military attaché is like, so what is your suggestion? And this broke my heart because this woman is fucking, I don't know what her name is. Let me see if I can find it because I want to give her a fucking kudos because um I believe that's Ratna Pertiwi. That's the characters, but she's Christine Hakim. She was fantastic because she kind of was just like bomb, bombs, bomb the whole city, bomb it, everybody wiped out, gone. That's the only way you're gonna stop this. Um, and we learn in this episode because so that like it's she then asks, "Can you take me home? I want to be with my family." Pretty much like so when you start bombing, I can die with my family. Um, Heartbreaking, but she was awesome. Also, I want to look really quick to see what else has this lady's been in because she's fucking brilliant. Um, oh, sorry, she's in Eat, Pray, Love. God, ugh. Oh, that poor lady. I mean, you gotta eat. You gotta eat, pray, and love. Kidding. A lot of stuff that I don't know because she's from another country. So a lot of international stuff that I necessarily do not know. Um, yeah. Uh, she's an Indonesian actor, so Indonesian films. I don't know many of them. So so anyhow, then we move ahead in time, and now we've caught up with Joel and Tess and Ellie. And it's like they have traveled as far as they can and they just stop. Because we also learn in this episode that this fungus, like real fungus, like or the infected, like real fungus, doesn't so much like if you notice, like fungus doesn't like the sun. It doesn't like bright. It doesn't like oxygen in the sun. It likes to be where it's dark and sometimes warm. It depends. Like it depends on like it could just be cold and damp too. That likes both. It likes um like a humid sort of an environment to grow. But it does not like sunshine because it'll dry it out. So the fact that they're like they kind of know they can travel during the day and they'll be a little bit more safer than they would be at night. Um, so Anna, I'm looking at Anna Torv playing Tess. Tess and Joel are watching Ellie sleep with pretty much like and Joel's got his gun and he's watching because he's like Tess, you know, so she doesn't turn, she hasn't turned yet. She can still turn, and Tess is like, dude, calm yo tits, tassel them tits, just calm down. Like, let's just go with it for right now. If it is what it is right this minute, okay? Um, and Tess suddenly overnight is a different character. Like she's more forgiving and more kind of behind the cause than she was the night before. So I was like, what the fuck flew up your asshole in the middle of the night? Like, I know you didn't get any because I don't think you guys have been having sex because there's no condoms in this world. Although I would assume at this point she's probably past the age to have some baby. But anyhow, um Ellie wakes up and they're like ready to get on the road. And I do love let's see. So this is where they decide to now start asking questions. I'm like, questions that maybe you could have asked Marlene too. Like, no, you're just gonna leave it to ask Ellie, who's barely is like known of the plan for a day. Let me ask you all you know. And they pretty much are like, so why are you so important? And um pretty much what let's see, I have it written down. Oh, Tess is like, so why you? And Ellie says, whatever happens to me and whatever happened to me is the key to finding the vaccine. And at the very like, and Joel kind of recites it with her because he's like, I fucking heard this so many times before. You're not special. You're just like, they're lying to you. We need to take you back and we'll find a different way to get a battery. Get the fuck out of here. And Tess is like, no, 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 we're seeing this through. So, they're like, okay, they got to get to the State House in Boston. And so the other thing we learned, and I think I didn't finish my thought earlier, the thing we learned about is Boston was actually one of the cities that they bombed and it worked. Like they bombed and it did stop the spread significantly, not completely, but significantly, as opposed to many, many other sites. It was a small percentage that actually worked. So Ellie asks for a gun and they're like, nope. And she goes, and Merlene has also packed her a bag full of sandwiches, full of just sandwiches and a flashlight. And like a mom would be like, here's what you need for the road. So make sure you got your sandwiches and you got your flashlight and you got your band-aids and blah, 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 an extra pair of socks. Don't forget clean underwear because don't be caught by an infected with dirty underwear. And she's like, fucking fine. I'll just throw a fucking sandwich at him then, okay? Ellie's, I love her. I really do. I love this actress. Although I did catch one point, she's trying to hold that British accent back a little bit, but she's like 15 years old, so we're gonna forgive her. And she's doing a fucking bang up job. So cool. Let's see. So they gotta get to the State House. So they're trying to decide which way to go. Like, do we go? It's kind of like lesser of two evils. Like, do we go out and around, or or straight through? Because straight through is the worst, but going around is certain death. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Well, they decide to go through the hotel. Well, so at this point, like it's kind of I mean, this is where actually it excels because we are outside now. Like I remember saying in the last episode, it felt like a set. This does not. This feels like we're outside at least. Like I don't know where they filmed. I should look it up. I'm sure they say somewhere. I will do some research for next time. I'm not going to. But this actually does now feel like like a show. This feels like it's outside. I feel a bit more like the world. I still feel a little bit like it's a set, a little bit, but not as much. But not as much as last episode. So they had to go through. I'm sure Bostonians will say what all these. I mean, they do go to the Bostonian Museum. I don't know if that's real or not, but I was really getting upset. I was getting really upset about all the historical pieces that were getting destroyed. I'm like, oh my god, you have a Revolutionary Era coat from the Revolutionary War, and someone just destroyed it. Oh my god, my heart hurt. Because I'm a fucking nerd. But they had to go through this hotel, and pretty much the lobby area is just full up with green, because the green water, because nature has reclaimed this land at this point. I mean, it's just infected that are out in the wasteland, pretty much. What is it, scorched earth from Demolition Man, or Judge Dredd, or it's like the city, and that's it. And so like that's all that's out there, the fucking infected. So of course, like it's the nature is just taken back because the infected aren't going to do any shit. They're one with the infected is nature. So Ellie's playing around in the water until she finds a skeleton, but at one point Joel just looks at her and goes, "You're a weird kid," and she goes, "You're a weird kid," and it was just such a cute. It brought us a little closer to these two characters, which we needed, because Joel spends a lot of this episode fucking hating Ellie. So you're like, you got to give me something. You got to give me something to make, they do have really great chemistry, but you have to give us something to keep us watching, because otherwise I'm like, Joel, you need to calm down, okay? So they try to they try to go through the hotel. So once they get past like all where the lobby is with all the water, they've just there's been like a cave in sort of. So there's been a rock fall, wall fall. So it's blocked. They can't fit over, but they figured there's a door there. So not all of them can fit over. Tess goes over to go and lock the door. When she does, they go up to like the roof area, look over, and there's infected everywhere. And they're like, well, there goes that way around. Um, and this is where they're waiting for Tess to come unlock the door, and there's like a heart to heart, not heart to heart, but like Ellie's trying to learn a little bit more about Joel, and so she's asking questions and of him, and he's kind of like passing on all the big questions, and he's like pass, pass, and then she says like, is it hard? Have you killed people? Have you killed infected? He's like, yeah, I haven't lived 23 years without having to do this. And she goes, is it hard knowing that they were once people? And he says, sometimes. I'm sure that some point there's no humanity left in the infected. It's probably not as hard, and we do see that in this episode because these the two infected that come after them, two or three, there's no humanity. I mean, it's nothing. They're so the ones that we, I guess, okay, so well, we'll get there. But Ellie does ask Joel like, how long can they live? And he said, for the most part, months, but there are many that live 20 some odd years. There's probably some that are still from the beginning. Like, and but yeah, they go out to the the deck area, or the probably would have been like the balcony area, good look overlooking the city, and probably at one point it was gorgeous. Have your like drinks up there. um it's just full of infected below them, just full of infected, and they're laying, and you could tell every time the sun comes, and like if a cloud comes in front of the sun and the light goes away or the light comes back, they kind of shift depending on which way the light's going, because they don't like it, because it's um because they're like gremlins. Bright light, bright light. Let's see. I'm looking to see what my notes are. Um, okay. So then they get to the museum because they're like, okay, well, we'll go through the museum and we'll get to the state house on the other side of the museum. And they're debating whether or not to go in, because there's like the whole out front has been like taken over by what looks to be like the veins of the fungus. And Joel realizes that it's dead. It's like it's dried up. So they figure it's okay to probably go. It'll be okay to get in. Um Also, oh yeah, once they're in there, there is he says with his bone dry, so they think they'll be okay. As they're going in, they see a newly deceased body, like not one that is they as Ellie asks, she's like, did an infected do this? And Joel's like, no. No. So we're kind of led to believe that possibly another human did this. Like, I mean, not the infected aren't human, but like it's either did it to himself or somebody did it to him. It's very and it's fresh. Like he hadn't been turned. Um as they're going through the museum, I think they get so far into museum and it's like no turning back because there's another cave in, so they can't leave. Um and then there's some sort of like screeching noise, and the what I learned afterwards are the clickers. The clickers have infiltrated, so they can't see but they can hear, so they're kind of like, is it raptors that can see? They can't see but they can hear, or yeah, I don't know. Anyhow, it doesn't matter, but they actually sound like dinos. They do sound like some sort of dinosaur. It's kind of crazy, and they kind of move like them too. It's very interesting. um all I did have to say is like, I need one fucking headshot, like of somebody sticking a like a stick a dynamite in one of these things' heads. I need it to explode like you would explode a giant mushroom. Like, I need to see that. We get a couple headshots, but it's not satisfying enough. I need to see like bits and pieces of mushroom everywhere, because the clickers have actually the mushroom heads, where there's like just, yeah, like gross mushrooms like that. Such a great description. But we learn that these ones are the ones who have been infected the longest. So the like the fungus has taken over their face. That's why like they can't see because there's really no eyes. They can hear because there's still holes where their ears were, but that's why they can't see because it's taken over their eyes too. Um, and they get out, but Ellie has gotten bit again. So but she's like, well, better me than you guys. um Joel still's not happy. Like they leave and he's like, I, I don't know what to do. He's like, at this point, like she's been great, she got over the first time, but what about the second time? And Ellie or Tess is just done with him, and she said, just take the win, we need to move. And at this point, she's also twisted her ankle and she cannot walk. Um, they get to the state houses where they were supposed to meet up with all the fireflies, although all the fireflies are fucking dead. Like, and it's not an infected fight. What happened was they could actually get into the state house and there's more dead bodies there. So what they think is that there was one person got bit of the fireflies, and then the healthy fought the sick, and that's what you had left. So as they're trying to decide what they're going to do, Tess is really pushing for them to keep moving on until finally, like Joel's kind of like, take off because he gave her a bandage for Ellie, her bandage for her. He's like, take off the bandage. And they look at which is almost like, it's not like if she had been bitten, she would have already had like up her arm it would have started to go up her arm already, like the fungus spread. um and all of a sudden Ellie understands, she gets it, she goes, holy shit, you're infected, meaning Tess. So why Tess was so adamant and there was such a change of heart, and she knew, I don't know when she got bit. I don't think they say. If they did, please, you can put it in the comments, but I don't remember them saying when she got bit. But she pulls back her jacket and there is a giant bite there. And you can see my no. And she she's like, you need to do this to Joel. You move on. You need to take Ellie to Bill and Frank, convince them to take her, because he's like, they won't take her. They won't even let me in. She's like, you need to do it. This, and she shows her the shoulder, comparing it to Ellie's arm, and she's like, this is real. This is what's going to save us, or save you guys. At this point, she's dead. And unfortunately, at this point, there was one infected that was in the state house. I had woken up, and Joel shot it, but you see on its hand as the spores are starting, like the tendrils are going around his fingers, and all of a sudden the tendrils like send a message. It's like a nervous system. It sends messages out to the rest of the fungi, and I learned that that's my mycelium, and it works like a nervous system. So when you touch a tendril one place, it alerts send an alert down another part of the mushroom. And that's what happened. So that whole bunch of infected that were hanging out in front of it by the balcony and like sunning themselves like they were on the fucking lanai, they all wake up and they're like, it's time to eat, bitch. Um, and so, they're all coming, and Joel's like, we have a minute. And she's like, well, how many? She's like, he said, all of them. And she pretty much, like, Tess throws Ellie at Joel, and she's like, just go save who you can save. And she starts pushing over all of these, like, in the state house there's like pretty much like a encampment, like where the fireflies have set up base camp. And she starts throwing over barrels of gasoline, and what she's going to do is she's going to have them all come in, and then she's going to light it up with herself included. There's also fucking like grenades in there too, so she's like, gonna make sure these are all dead. So they leave Tess, who they infected come in, and she cannot get her fucking lighter lit. And this one infected sees her and turns to her, and it is crazy. And I watched a little because it was actually really interesting. If you stick around and you watch after the episode, they have like a little like behind the scenes, and Anna Torv talks about like how this scene, she thought it was going to be more intimate because of what she's like, no, like it's when it actually was happening, it's just you, it's too chaotic, and it's not. But what happens is the infected come up to her face, almost like there's a recognition, and the spores start to come out of the mouth, like seeking her mouth, and her mouth is open, and the infected kisses her. I mean, puts its mouth on her mouth, so effectively kissing her as the spores go into her body. And luckily, she finally gets the lighter lit, drops it, and everything blows up. But you have that moment on her face where she's like acceptance, and this is the last. And because she even says, "Save who you can. I need you to do this. I need you to save to make up for the things that I've done, that we've done, not just her." We've done. So we know that these two have done some shady shit, I should say, not shitty shit. Well, shitty shit too, shady shit to survive. Like I'm sure a lot of us probably would. Me, I would have been fucking out already. I would have been like, but the second day I'd be like, peace the fuck out. Let's just get some sleeping pills. Throw me some like a whole bunch of fucking whatever. Xanax, let's do it. Let's do a cocktail and get the fuck out. That's where I peace out of my movie. Thank you. Um, but so what I really liked in the behind, so that's the end of the episode. They run out. Um, and so what I really liked in behind the scenes, they talk about these clickers. So the sound that they make is like it's a clicking noise. And I guess this is from the video game. I mean, well, all of this is from the video game, but I guess there's like a whole bunch of different kinds of infected guys. Y'all know that I never played this game, so I am just learning. I'm learning as we go. Yeah. So they brought in the prosthetic team from Chernobyl, which I was like, okay, well, I watched Chernobyl, and they were like, they only guess when they're. I mean, I mean, I can't imagine that that has many prosthetics as this one has to do, but they were brought in, specifically for the clickers to do the makeup for the and design for the clickers. So that is my that is the summation of this episode, but I liked it a whole hell of a lot. What I liked, and I think this is the thing for me, is like it was moving. It was moving. And I think that was the hard thing with episode one, like the second half of it, is because we're just sitting around with plot, exposition bullshit. I'm like, I don't fucking know what's happening. This truck and the battery. I'm like, you know what? Just it is just it's a fetch quest at this point, and I don't give a fuck. Let's just get out of the system. Let's get moving. So that's where I was with that one. And this, it's more along, now we have a fucking plan of what we're going to do and why we have to get her to Bill and Frank's, which I'm assuming, I saw Nick Offerman's going to be in this, so I'm very excited. I'm very excited about Nick Offerman. And yeah, and so I came around. I came around the corner. I'm excited about seeing episode 3. So if I had to do some ratings with it, or I think like last time I just gave, did I give our general ratings, or I just give it a letter? I'll do both. Fuck it. So uh blood and gore. This one I have to say gore probably 2. We finally see those big clicker things, and those things are gross. And those fucking spores are just awesome as fuck. Spooky, scary. Oh, I do. Okay, I'm gonna say 2 just because I don't know what the fuck those clickers are. That's creepy. They move and sound like fucking raptors. Cool. Sex and nudity, none. And fun entertainment. I mean, I had a 3 on this one. I enjoyed watching it. It went fast. It went. That's another thing. It was an hour and a half, so I was like, okay, fuck, fine. I didn't have to sit. I had already had to just sit through the fucking layer and then have to watch another hour and a half movie. So I'm gonna give this one B plus. I think B plus. We get a little bit more storyline and a little bit more connection between Joel and Ellie, and I can't wait to see how that goes, because I know by the end of the fucking season, they're like, he's he's Daddy Pedro, so he's Daddy Joel. Um, yeah, so next episode I will have my lovely co-host Ween from Booze, Booze and Blood. We will be doing episode 3 together. If you have not seen our, we just dropped today, our we watched we're so ahead of the times. They're so on it. We just watched Terrifier 1 and 2 and did a review of those two movies. Genuinely like them. Um, don't see as horror nerds, don't see where the throwing up in the movie theaters came into play, but could understand if you're a normie. I get it. There was a point where I gagged a little bit. I was like, it's bones sticking out. I don't do bones well. Like there's like an actual like sticking out of skin bone. I saw a foot surgery once. On like there used to be a surgery channel. And I remember watching it going, okay, this is actually a lot for me. Because there was like bone sticking out, like this is the foot, and it was like they had skin pulled back and there was the bone. I was like, okay, I might throw up on this one. But other than that, like usually it doesn't bother me. Like the whole rest of the fucking movie was, I was more impressed with the goddamn makeup and the practical than I was like grossed out. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is whoever did the practical for both of those movies. This is their real. They will never have to worry about another. Well, they have to have another job, but they will never have to worry about looking for another job. They'll just be like, here's my reel. This is what I can do, and people will be like, yup, done. And especially for $250,000, blow my mind. Especially for $35,000, blow my mind. Anyhow, watch it. It's great. It's on YouTube. It's on our channel. Next up we have Evil Dead 1, and then the remake is coming up. It's Evil Dead month. April's Evil Dead month over at B3. So be ready for that. And I'm also going to be watching, I kind of given up on Infinity Pool, guys. I'm probably not going to watch that. Although I say that in like 4 months from now I'll watch it. I am going to watch Children of the Corn this week. I'm going to watch the remake. So this will be, is it Kurt Wimmer? Yeah, Kurt Wimmer's horrible Louvre. Excellent. I've heard some great things. I've heard it's like fucking crazy as shit. So crazy dumb. I am excited. So anyhow, on that note, stay spooky.